Hi, thanks for joining us on Calm Hearts, Calm Minds, an NOCS Heart podcast that allows us to make the mental health victories of everyday Ghanaians accessible, relevant, and relatable. We hope that you enjoy listening to us and learning lots, and we hope you do come back again to learn some more. Now, today's episode. Everyone. Hi, Injoli. Thanks for joining us. Guys, you don't know how excited I am to have Injoli on the call today. I'll let her introduce herself, but I doubt one of the things to say is that she's one of my LinkedIn heroes. When I started my journey of Calm Heart, well, not the journey that led to the journey. There's a whole story behind Calm Hearts, Calm Minds. But when I started recording for Calm Hearts, Calm Minds, I would go to LinkedIn and almost every day, Njole is posting some information that is helpful, that is useful. And at the point where I got cold feet that maybe I shouldn't do this, even though I'd done recording, so maybe I shouldn't do it. And I'll see Njole's post like, yes, I am going to launch Calm Hearts, Calm Minds. And then she'll say something on mental health. I'm going to launch it on World Mental Health Day. And that's why nowadays you have the Thursday 10 a.m. releases, because I wanted a nice ring to it, 10, 10, 10. So thanks, Njole, for contributing to that story. And I'm
Thank
so
you.
honored to have you on the call. Um, it's going to be an exciting time. Anyway, my name is Ofosia Deku Ama. I am the host for Calm Hearts, Calm Minds. If you joined us, please subscribe so you can know when the new episodes are out. And please share with a friend, someone you know may find this very useful. And I have here my guest Injole, who will tell us a bit about herself. Injole, who are you and what do you do?
Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be here. And then I was really looking forward to this, to be honest, because I've always loved to share my knowledge, share my insights, and to also support those out there. So when I was called upon for this, I was really excited to be a part of it. So I am Njole Kidiwang, and I'm Nigerian. So and I'm a public health advocate, but with a particular interest in mental health advocacy. So I'm really passionate about raising awareness, reducing stigma by challenging misconceptions around mental health issues. And this is something I'm really passionate about. So thank you so much. It's nice meeting everyone here.
Thank you so much, Injole. Forgive me, guys. Unfortunately, Injole's name is similar to a term that I'm familiar with, which is not Injole. It's something else. So forgive me if I masquerade the name. I told her I apologize in advance. It's really good. And when she says passionate, she is. You should just please go to LinkedIn and follow her. You would understand what she's saying. She does have a lot of passion for it, and it's one of the reasons why she's on this show today. Is it a recording podcast? Oh goodness, podcast today. So Angela, welcome. Now, today's topic really is about mental health advocacy in African countries. The mental health advocacy journey that you have had. Um, please, can you tell us why this particular topic? Because there's so many. I'm not going to make this on about Angela's LinkedIn post, but honestly, if you follow her, she gives you a good concept of maybe how mental health can affect stuff like diabetes or even pregnancy. She's really, really well read, and it's nice to have her here. But personally, when it comes to that narrowed thing, I mean, there's a whole broad topic on mental health, but when it comes to mental health advocacy, why is this topic important to you?
Okay. So mental health advocacy is very close to my heart, to be honest. And it's because I believe mental health is the foundation of well-being. I've um, been, I've had experiences whereby physically I was all right, or
Mm,
had experienced other people whereby physically they are doing well, financially they are, socially, whatever, all other aspects of health, they seem to be doing quite well. But because the mental health aspect of their life was flawed, it kind of ruined the other aspects of health. And it has happened to me personally. And that's why mental health is something close to my heart. For me, it's not just about raising awareness, even though that's a key area in mental health advocacy, but it's also empowering people to seek help. Because when I was in that shoe, due to the stigma surrounding mental health, I wasn't able to seek for help. And I know how that made me sink further down in the situations that I was facing. So it's about empowering people to seek help. It's about empowering them to embrace self-compassion and to live healthier lives. So mental health advocacy is important to me because I want to make a difference by breaking down the stigma that surrounds mental health, and then to create safe spaces for people to have open conversations about their mental health struggles. And I'm sure by doing this and by having other people join me in this, I'm sure that we'll be able to encourage a lot of people out there. We'll be able to support them, and we'll be able to make them feel seen and heard. So that's why this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's can I start saying I'm speechless? And it takes a lot to get me speechless. I'm one with a lot of words. So I love that you've been able to use the personal experience to open doors, because you personally know the pain of the stigma, and personally know the even greater pain of not seeking help, and how that has helped you on your journey.
Yes.
And I really love that you're opening doors. I remember I always see in your post, usually you have, if you would have like a little exercise, and I understand why it's always there, you would usually ask a question. And I remember answering some of them from time to time. And it's very useful that people have those tools, the self-compassion and seeking help, because sometimes people do need help. Sometimes these are things you can't just solve on your own. So let's move to the next question. You already touched on some personal experiences that drove you to advocacy. Um, but I want to talk, maybe you can touch more on the some, if not all, some of, or one or two personal experiences or turning points that set you on the path of mental health. If you could maybe elaborate what you had said a bit further for us, to appreciate it some more.
Thank you so much again. Um, there are a lot of personal experiences and turning points that have set me on the path of mental health advocacy. But aside from my personal experiences, one crucial moment was when I worked with a group of adults and teenagers, because I tend to do that a lot. And it was during that moment that I saw firsthand how mental health struggles affect young people. And many of them feel like they don't have anybody to talk to or someone they can confide in. And they tend to face these challenges alone due to the stigmatization that is around mental health struggles. So these experiences showed me the importance of mental health advocacy. And then I decided, I was like, I'm not just going to speak for myself, since I know I have struggled with some mental health issues, but I said I was not going to just speak for myself. I'll speak for myself and for every person that is or more that I pass through. I will stand in for them, raise my voice for them, support them, create safe and open conversations and spaces for them. And that was the moment that I really felt that I will embark on mental health advocacy journey. And to be honest, it has not been easy. It has not been easy to put myself out there, tell my story and the story of other people that I know that their voice were not heard before. But I would say that it was worth it. And I'm very happy that I can do that, not just for myself, but a lot of people out there. They may not even know me, but I'm here, and at every chance I get, I stand in for them. I raise my voice for them. And that makes me feel fulfilled. And I'm really happy. Thank you so much.
I can feel the joy, and personally it speaks to me as well, because I have had the privilege of hearing stories of others. So I know what you mean when you said you're raising your voice for others. Some
Yes.
advocates even may not have had a personal experience before, others have had.
Yes. Yes.
But for you, what makes you even more special is that you have had and you are open about it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you also realize that not everybody has a luxury to be open about it. So you use your
Yes.
voice to represent their voices as well. And I was going to say, okay, I think I'll just crucify your name the rest of this program in Jolly. I said it wrongly.
It's
Oh
all
my
right.
goodness.
Yes, you said it perfect. No, no, you did perfectly well
Jolly.
for your. You
Okay.
are doing
This
perfectly well.
self-doubt is worrying
Yes.
me in this particular report. But Jolly, it's so amazing. But I have a question for you, because I personally know people who want to talk about their stories, but they have pressure from family. In Africa, it's not just okay to have a mental health condition. When I was growing up in primary school, you learned about, not a primary, junior secondary school, we had local languages that we learned. And I grew up in a city called Kumasi. So the predominant language was Asante Twi. So you don't just learn the language, you learn the language and the culture. So they have the grammar bit, and then they have the culture. So it was called Amamre, the traditions. And when it came to something like marriage, they will say that when this is how the process goes. The potential husband goes to the potential wife's house, sends a drink, and says, I'm
Yes.
interested in the daughter of this house. And they will go like, okay, thank you. By the time they go, the husband's family would have done investigations. And then when you send the drink, the wife's family also do investigation. Everybody's happy. They're like, okay, we are happy. Let's join our families together in marriage, through the marriage of our children. And one of the things that they would check for is the person, do they have any criminals in their family? And this is traditional, like this is like a traditional list you sort of have to check. Criminals in the family, is anyone like a thief? And is anyone mad? Anyone have a mental health issue? And that is what I learned in JSS. So, and it seems
Yes.
across a lot of the cultures. Ghana has a lot of different tribes. No, probably not as a lot as Nigeria, I'm sure. But many tribes, many languages, and I'm sure a lot of them look for that as well, mental health issues. And we know that mental health issues, not issues, diseases, illnesses, can be genetic for a lot of people. So for
Yes.
you, and I know this is not a question we prepared, but for you, how was it when you decided to open up personally about your issues surrounding mental health? You've not said it's a mental health illness, but for people to open up personally about their issues is very big. What was the kind of challenge you had to go through personally and the family when you decided to not only tell the story of others, which I personally feel is easier than, bringing yourself and telling your story as well?
Yes. Okay. Thank you for this question. To be honest, it wasn't easy coming out to tell my story. Um, to be honest with you, I'm not even sure if my family really knows that I'm telling my story.
I get to yourself.
I'm not
Let me
really
be
sure.
very, let me be like one of those, I don't want to say auntie, one of those concerned family members. You are getting yourself in trouble, my dear.
Yes.
Your family is not
Yes.
in LinkedIn. They may get to know very soon. This is going on YouTube. I'm listening.
Yes. So to be honest, I still have that fear. I still have a lot of untold stories that I'm still battling to find the courage to say out, to be honest. But I realized that it starts from somewhere, and every step counts, no matter how little it counts. So I start from those stories that I'm able to share, that I found the courage to share. I start from them while still hoping and encouraging myself to someday tell those stories that I've not yet found the courage to tell now. But I grew up in a family, every family has its culture and the way they do things. So I grew up in a family. We are kind of private people. We're kind of private people. So putting out your business out there, it was like no, 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 no. No, don't do that. That's how it was. So most times, so I grew up where whatever it is, you keep it within yourself, you keep it within the family. And it has its benefits, to be honest. It has its benefits, but it also has its downsides too. So growing up and becoming an adult, I weighed the benefits and the downsides, and I realized that keeping maybe my experiences, keeping my stories to myself, I'm not going to not only help myself, but other people out there that are also struggling to find the courage to come out. My story is going to help them too. And that's why I decided that regardless of it, I will start saying and talking about my story one step at a time. So it's not been easy, like I stated earlier, to be honest. It's not easy. Most times if I tell a story, I'm thinking, what if, what if, what if? But I still find the courage to say it out, and I'm thankful for that opportunity. Thank you so much.
Personally, I'm Christian, and I would say God bless you, because mental health stigma
Thank you.
as
Thank
real
you.
as the ground we walk on. If you haven't felt it, or you don't know somebody who's felt it, for them to express
Yes.
it to you. You know, when someone says something, you don't know them, it's something over there. But when someone you know says something, it becomes a bit more real to you. So it's as real as
Yes.
the ground we walk on. And I'm privileged to
Yes.
know this about you. And I'm glad that you've talked to what others may be thinking about. I remember when I was doing this, started trying to get speakers for this podcast. I remember speaking with a mental health practitioner, and she said, oh, sometimes some people are actually eager to tell their story, but they don't realize the repercussions. And then later on, it comes back to bite them. And sometimes they wish they never told their stories. But I know you are just telling us what you did, but for me, it's advice to others that start telling the stories you're comfortable with. It starts from somewhere, and every step counts. Like, I
Yes.
have no idea
Yes.
how grateful I am that your steps are counting. And it's through you that I've met other speakers who'll be on the show, because they'll comment on your posts, I'll reach out and all, because now you can see people may not even be saying things directly to themselves, because it may not apply to them, or it does, but they are engaging, and the stories are being told,
Yes.
and the awareness. You, if I'm not careful, I will invite you in my language. I'll invite you, sir. I invite you all the time, because there's so many things we can talk about, and that's one of the things why. That's one reason why
Yeah.
calm hearts, calm minds is important to me. I recognize that I was well read. When I compared to the people that I knew, I realized that mental health education was quite low, and it contributed to how we treated people. And maybe because of the way I spoke, people were willing to talk to me about their mental health conditions or their struggles, even if they didn't have an illness. So really, 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 really honored to meet you again, Jolly. If I'm not careful, I'll say that the whole time, so I'll try and stop. I bore
Thank you
all our
so
listeners,
much.
but yes,
Thank you
really,
so
really happy.
much.
Thank you for sharing that. We'll go to our next
Thank you
question.
so much.
Um, how has your advocacy transformed both your life and your understanding of mental health? You mentioned that you went through your own struggle. You delayed in getting help. You saw what it did. But after you started the advocacy, how did it change your own life? And then how did it also change your understanding of mental health? And I like this question because If you say we are physically ill, it could be cold, it could be malaria, it could be hypertension, it could be diabetes, it could be fibroids. Like there are so many illnesses you can suffer from being physically ill.
Yes.
Or you are strained, it could be stress, it could be dehydration. Like, you know what I mean? You are not
Yes.
ill, but you have a
Mm,
strain. And we had a topic recently on mental health
mm.
strain, which are not illnesses, but that's what everybody can go through as a human being. So, starting this advocacy, knowing that you came from one aspect of the bigger picture when it comes to mental health, your personal experience, how has it changed your understanding of mental health in general, beyond your experience? And how has it transformed your own life? You've hinted on some, but yeah.
Yes. To be honest, mental health advocacy work has transformed my life
Mm,
and then my understanding of mental health, and not only just mine, also those around me, and even those that I have no idea about.
mhm,
I only get to get feedback from them, telling them and telling me that this thing you talked about, it
mm,
really touched me, and it has given me courage to be myself, given me courage to talk about my own story too. And I realized that when I started mental advocacy work, it transformed me by deepening my empathy and my resilience.
mm.
So usually I will be someone that I'm shy by nature. To be honest, I'm shy by nature, so I find it difficult to talk.
You're
I
doing a
find it
good
difficult to
job.
talk, especially in public, or with a lot of people or new faces around. But it has helped me to be resilient. I keep pushing
Mm,
forward. I keep talking to larger crowds.
mm,
Each time I keep talking to new faces, and I keep talking to people with challenges, those that are having wrong misconceptions on mental health, and this has made my resilience to to be better. It has made
mm,
it to grow, and it has also deepened my empathy because I get to meet people that have passed through things that are worse than me. Maybe
mm,
previously I was thinking that this I'm the worst, I'm the person that this has happened to, and all that. But I get to meet people that um things have happened to them that are worse than me. So I
mm,
get to have a deeper understanding of how
mm,
many people can actually struggle with mental health. And
mm,
with every interaction I have, whether it's through education or through projects, it
mhm.
has taught me a valuable lesson one way or the other. And I've also realized that our mental health is not an individual journey.
Yeah.
It's a community responsibility. So I have a part to play, you have a part to play. Those listening to us also have a part to play. And when we do it together, then we
Mm,
make an impact in the lives of other people and in our community. So this work has also taught me about teamwork. It has
mm,
taught me to collaborate with people. It has
mhm,
made me to network with other people, listen to their own point of view on things, their perceptions, to be
mhm,
able to either challenge it or to accept and also use it to sharpen my own.
mm,
So all
mm,
these have really helped transform my life. And for other people, like I said, I've come across people that have spoken to me. Some people that for the first time in their life, they have actually been able to speak up. Some
mm,
people have heard about some mental struggles that they have not heard before in their life.
mhm.
And some people, they were struggling with it, but they were not able to identify it because they didn't know what it meant.
It
So
was.
when you talk to them, yes, they now get to find out that, oh, this is what I've been struggling with, or this is what I was struggling with. And then they get to find solutions, because when you know a problem, then
Mhm,
you when the solution will be easier for you.
mhm.
So that's also happened to people that I've come across. And through my mental advocacy work, I've also met you. You see?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So that I am very happy. I keep thinking every single time I keep thinking about my mental advocacy work. I think of you. I'm like, you're the first person
Oh,
that reached out to me, and I felt so motivated. You really helped. You really motivated and inspired
thank
me to
you.
continue with this mental health advocacy. I'll be very honest, because you kept on showing me that I can do this. I'm on
Mm.
the right path, and I'm just so happy. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Jolie. Oh, now you caught me off guard. I thought it was one for me. I saw it
Yes.
as a pro, and it's nice what you said. It's community. Maybe, maybe in
Mm,
if it wasn't for
yes.
this conversation, we would have guessed we are helping each other. But now we've confirmed it. But you're right
Yes.
about being community. And guys, those listening to us, if you see a mental health
Mm,
related post, share it. It doesn't mean you have a problem.
mm,
It doesn't mean that if you have a problem,
yeah.
everybody knows you do. It's just
Mm,
I got to know of Angel's post because people were liking it and commenting on it in the group that we were both in. I don't think then I
mm,
started following her myself. Then I realized that she was
mm,
also posting on her own page. And this is just LinkedIn. I don't know any other platforms that she's on.
mm,
We don't interact on any other
yeah.
platform either. And
Yeah.
it is a community work because you don't have to be a victim to be an advocate.
Yes.
And the thing is that
Yes.
the typical thing is 1 in 5 have I think
Mm,
the second episode, which would have even been the first recording that we had with
mm,
I think a professor, if you look in the other recordings, if you're watching this. And please don't forget to subscribe.
mm.
That's part of the community work. Subscribe, follow us, share our posts,
Yes.
share our interviews because
Yes.
what she's saying is very powerful. It may not be you, but someone you know. So 1 in 5, think of 5 people around, 4 people around you. One of them may have what they call a serious mental illness. Some people have mental illnesses that are just,
Mm,
subtle. I think some people may actually have a mental illness and they will die not knowing that they have. Not
yes.
because they are not struggling, but there's nothing that has triggered them.
Yes.
But some people do. And
Mm,
because of the stigma,
mm,
especially in African societies like mine in Ghana and in Jolis in Nigeria and other African countries, we are trying, we are doing well, but it's community work. So I cannot let that point pass and say, oh, nice answer, move on to the next question. It's community work. So please, I appeal to you, subscribe. I appeal to you, follow people like us on LinkedIn, share our content because it may not be you, it may be someone. And yes, we personally know people who come to us and say, me too, or I didn't know this was happening. So
yes.
thank you so much. I mean, Injole, you have no idea how inspired I am. Maybe I should have more mental health advocates on this on this podcast because I'll be
Thank
inspired
you.
and stop. It's amazing. So we have more questions to go through. We'll go on a quick break and we will see you soon. So hi everyone, we are back from the break. We have in the studio today Enjoy
Yes.
the mental health advocate, and we were discussing quite a number of things before we went on break. If for some reason you are hearing someone listening to them, wonder what's going on? Well, this is Calm Hearts, Calm Minds. It's a mental health awareness podcast, and we want to aim to make mental health victories more relatable, more relevant, and more accessible in our society. So I'm really happy to have Angela here to help us today. Relatable because some people feel it's far away, but mental health is health. Relevant because, well, it's not a problem. But as Njole said before, mental health advocacy is a community agenda. It's not just an individual. And even if you wanted to be one, you cannot do it on your own. I
Mm,
met Njole through the work she was doing and went to comment on her post, share. And on that note, please like this, comment,
yes.
share with us,
Yes.
subscribe so that you can see the so there are so many topics
Yes.
coming our way, and I'm sure we'll have Angela
Yes.
back and support the work of mental health advocates like Angela and myself. Share our content. You don't have to be struggling. That's a nice thing
Mm,
about mental health victories. There's usually a struggle. Doesn't mean you have a mental
mm,
health illness. It just means you overcame whatever struggle it was and you keep overcoming.
yeah.
And Angela has already shown us she's a mental health victor in herself and
Mm,
been sharing her
yes.
story. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Angela. Like, I'm still so excited. People may not understand. Maybe when they go and read your post and see what you are doing, they may get it. But yes, thank you so much for making the time. So you've been talking about your work. You talked about the youth that you spoke to, that eye-opening moment where you're like, wow, I cannot just tell my story for myself. But when we do this, we give people should I say, the right to even talk about their own mental health problems and seek help if needed. And you talked about your own struggles. But when you look at the wider work you've done, can you give us a few examples of how your work has actually impacted others and even communities? We can't wait. We can't wait to hear about these real examples.
Okay. So, my mental health work has had tangible impact on people's life and in the community, especially on teenagers and youth. And it has also had impact um, on families too,
Families.
because yes, on families, because at some point in my life I was an educator at a school. And then when I was hired by the school to carry out my education activities there, I realized that most of the teenagers there and some of the staff were also victims of certain mental health struggles.
Mm.
It came up as due to family challenges, due to
Oh,
personal struggles. And when it comes to teenagers, when they are growing up, maybe due to puberty, they tend to have a lot of mental health struggles. And as youths too, they tend to have mental health struggles because at that point they are trying to settle in life. They are trying to
that
know what
themselves.
way to forge, yes, and things like that. So I had encounters with some students, and then some were struggling with broken homes.
Oh,
Maybe they witnessed where their parents are in constant arguments or disagreements, and some people had challenges whereby they were not staying with their parents but step parents and were suffering from one form of maltreatment or the other. And then one thing that helped me is that the moment I realized that I had wanted to really take this mental health advocacy very seriously, I first of all worked on myself. I made myself to a safe space for someone to talk to me, and I listen without judgment. Because if you are not able to do that, you will not be able to give that adequate support that any person that's struggling with mental health needs at that point in time. So most of these children were able to sense this support, sense this empathy in me. I was not the only staff in the school as at that point in time, but they were able to sense this in me. And then some drew closer and were able to confide in me and share these struggles that they were having or their families were having. And then, to be honest, at this point, sometimes you have struggles because you might not know if um, whatever support you are going to be, either in form of advice or suggestion or some form of support, might be adequate enough.
Yeah.
And you do not want a case whereby the support you're trying to give ends up hurting the situation more when you were trying to rescue it. So because of that, it was a bit challenging. But using kindness, using empathy, and then putting myself in that shoes, because I was once a child, so I could really relate to what they could possibly be passing through. And then I use these past experiences to give out support, give out advices, give out different form of kindness, showing empathy, and then creating a safe space for these children. And then I remember before leaving, because I had to relocate due to school and work. But before leaving, there was one child that came to me. She came along with her friends because it seems like she had talked to them first, and then they referred her to me. They told her that this teacher is really kind. She will be able to help you. So they came as a group this particular day, and then she opened up to me and she told me that her stepmom that had been maltreating her came to talk to her, came to apologize for the way she had been treating her. And I remember as at that point in time, I spoke to the girl, and I also had a way of getting the contact of her mom, her stepmom. and I was able to talk to her on how whatever she's doing has an effect on this girl's life, because even in her academics, it was reflecting. She was not paying attention. She was really lacking behind. And then even her classmates were actually lamenting about this situation. So it became something that was even obvious to those around her. And then by the time I spoke to the mom, after a while, she came telling me that her mom, she and her stepmom had reconciled. And that was a really fulfilling part for me in my mental health advocacy. And also,
please continue.
and
I'm
also,
listening.
and also I had I have friends and colleagues, not teenagers this time around, like adults, maybe youths like that, that have come to me telling me that I'm someone that they feel safe to talk to without being judged. And sometimes I realize that when it comes to mental advocacy, something as little as listening to someone without judgment can have a great impact in helping their struggle. And that was an aspect that was ignored by those around them, their loved ones, their friends, often facing stigmatization when they come to share these struggles with those around them, but not too close to them. But I put myself in that shoes, that I listened to them and I gave honest advices and showed support and showed that I really understood what they were passing through, and they are not alone in this struggle. And I have many of them till date, some come texting me because I'm no longer in that location, but I get text messages of who tell me, you listening to me that day really helped me a lot. Some people that were thinking of either harming themselves or were thinking of just giving up on life, but because of the certain advices that came up due as a result of our conversation, open conversation, they were able to not carry out some certain actions that they had intended to. And all this just keep on encouraging me and encouraging me to keep on and drawing other people into it. Because when I came to the school, I never knew that there were students that were struggling with issues like this. I never knew there were fellow colleagues that were struggling with issues like this. But because I was able to reach out, open myself, open my heart, this now pull them in to see me as a safe space and to share their struggles with me. So I know that just as I earlier stated and just as you earlier confirmed, mental health advocacy is not an individual thing. It's a community. So we get to move together because we never know who around us is struggling. But when we never get to know. Sometimes those that are actually seeming to be happy are those that are really struggling. I've got to realize that because I know that also reflected in my life. There are many times I show up to work, I was excited, but I know I really struggled. But seeing some of these can actually be signs, especially if you're someone that have gone through it. You might see someone just suddenly excited or just suddenly change. You draw closer to the person. What is really going on? And they may be reluctant at first, but when they open, then you get to comfort them, you get to support them. And then these have really impacted a lot of people. Homes have been blessed by my mental health advocacy, individuals, colleagues, family members, and it have just been going bigger and bigger. And I'm really happy for this opportunity. It's really a privilege, to be honest, and I'm really happy for it. Thank you so much.
You too, Jolie. I mean, we can, for those who've been watching this from the beginning, we can feel and see your passion as you speak. And you say you are naturally a shy person. Because when you're talking about mental health, you are not shy at all.
I'm naturally a shy person.
I know,
But
but I'm saying that
sometimes
when it comes to mental health, you're not shy at all. And
when it comes to mental health, I'm not shy.
you can see a switch. After that, you say thank you for the question. You can see like, that's it.
It's true.
But I'm so happy that you mentioned the safe space, because in one of our previous recordings, somebody said, is it a safe space if you say it's a safe space? You can't just say it is a safe space. You have to prove it. And sometimes you can tell when people will always test you with information, either intentionally or unintentionally. They will tell you something and they will see what will happen with that thing that they've told you. Or they may not see, they'll just observe, especially when it's unintentional. And you find that more and more people come to you when they feel that they are not being judged, and then what they've told you is not going out there. So please, if you are considering being a mental health advocate, learn to keep a tight lip, because people are trusting you with things that they cannot even tell their closest relatives or friends. And as Enjola had said earlier, sometimes you are not trained for the situation. So get in contact with professionals. Me, I'm not one. Enjola is a public health. If you don't know, she's into public health. There's some training she's got now that she'll be aware. She'll go like, okay, this one is beyond me. Me, I know what is beyond me. And that's what some of these things heArts, heMinds is trying to do, connect you with people who can actually help if there's a situation. You can always reach out to me as well, and I'll reach out eventually. Ask Enjoy. Eventually, I'll respond. But please don't just act out of the blue. But please, the one thing everybody can do is be kind and be, I don't want to say be quiet, because that's not what we're talking about, but be precious with people's information, and it's amazing what the mother said, because if she hadn't been empathetic, if she hadn't even learned more about this woman, she wouldn't have known that, okay, maybe a call could work. If she had just gotten up, she should have probably called someone that'd be more offended, but she took her time, she listened. So usually, like, honestly, as I said, me, I'm unapologetically Christian. God bless you on the work you are doing. You have reminded me also of times where people have opened up just because I listened, and it's a big piece of work as well. Angela, I want to ask this question, and it's not on our list of questions. But how do you manage? Because now you are hearing, you are not a therapist, and you are hearing so many problems. And not only are you hearing so many problems, one of the recordings that I did there, I couldn't be animated. I was sharing the stats, the actual statistics of, and that was coming from a psychiatrist, and I was just in shock. How do you manage when you have all this information, either about people themselves or the reality on the ground? How do you manage to keep yourself as a mental health advocate and keep going? Because sometimes, honestly, enjoy it, like, I think about it, and even me, I want to break down. Like, I'm just like, wow, how? So it's always good to, for me personally, understand how people are coping, because different mechanisms have worked for different people. I know what works for me, but for you, what works for you when suddenly the information is just too much? I'm not sure if you're mute. No, you're not. Can you hear me? You can hear me. Oh, I've lost your voice. Okay, the good thing is a pre-record. That's why I love the pre-recordings. You can always edit it out. Let's try and get your voice back, and then you can just answer the question. Nope, not yet. Okay.
Now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Okay, great. Your voice is back.
Yes, it is.
Yes. So you can just answer the question. I'll edit this portion out.
Okay, at any point you stop hearing me, just let me know, because
I
it
will.
seems I don't know if the mic is turning off by itself.
Maybe it is. Maybe the mic is trying to tell me I'm speaking too much.
No,
But
no.
please continue. Just answer the question. Luckily I landed, so we can just answer.
Okay. So one major way I use in handling all the information and still being able to keep keep my sanity without losing it is that
Okay.
I prioritize self-care. And
Mm.
that was something I used to do in time past. I'm someone that is emotional.
Mm.
I'm very empathetic. So I'm someone that when something happens to someone, it gets to me a lot. And then sometimes I'll be breaking down, not because of my own issue, but because of someone else's issue. that's that's the
It's
level
not even funny.
yeah, yes, that's the level you that's the level that
Like, you
it got
feel
to.
their pain, and it's paining you.
Yes,
Like, Ale.
I feel their pain so much, and then I get to be the one to break down instead. So what I did is that, coming up as a mental health advocate, I realized that your mental health matters. you that you as a person that's advocating your mental health matters. Because there's one thing I keep in mind: you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
So if you as a person, you are lacking, you are not strong, you are not solid in your mental health, you might find it difficult to actually raise your voice for others.
Yeah.
So you have to care for yourself and also share that care to those around you. And that's what I did. I started prioritizing my self-care. So most times, if I have information or things that are really burdensome, I sit.
Sorry, I can't hear you. I think it's gone off again. Okay. Okay. If it's a wireless mic, you can try and connect it. It may help because maybe the battery is low. And don't worry, you mentioned that's the place where if your mental health gets burdensome. Okay, let's see if we can hear you.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's a little faint, so you may have to hold the mic towards your mouth.
Okay, can you hear me
Oh,
now?
perfect, much better. Okay.
Okay.
So you can see when
Right.
it when So I'm just trying to see where the line dropped so you can continue when I edit it out. So
Okay.
talking about, so you can talk about how if your mental health or decay starts to get burdensome, you can start that line again, and then we'll continue from there.
Okay. So whenever I get information concerning other people's mental health struggles, and I realize that it becomes burdensome on me, most times what I do is that I share it with another professional. I might not give out the exact information because I respect confidentiality,
Yeah.
but there is a way I will paraphrase it, and then I get to share it with another person and hear their own point of view to it, so that I don't be the only one maybe trying to come up with support. So I get more hands on the issue and I get more ideas on how to go about it. So that way it reduces the burden, because now it's like 2 or 3 people carrying it. So that way I don't get overwhelmed with it. And at the same time, I'll be able to even provide more support to that person, because I have my own perspective, I have another person's perspective, and I have other people's perspective. So the knowledge or the support gets to even be bigger. And I think that that is one way I've been able to handle all this information. But it has, to be honest, it has not really been easy, because there are just some that maybe they remind you of something you passed through, and you just don't seem to get over it that easily. But most times, by helping another person, you get to help yourself. So that has really worked for me.
Thank you. There are three
Thank
things that
you.
come out strongly with what you said. One is your own self-care,
Yes.
irrespective. The second one was get help. Like you're a mental health advocate, get
Yes.
help. Get help for
Yes.
yourself, get help for others. Like some of the things you hear, get help.
Yes.
And the third one is remember that there are triggers, but even in the triggers, you may end up helping yourself. I appreciate because this is so true in so many ways for me too as well. I recognize that I am not a professional therapist or psychiatrist or psychologist. I'm just someone who's really passionate about mental health. But personally, I've grown my network of psychiatrists, psychologists. Right now, unless I don't hear that you are in the profession or you are open about it, oh, I will reach out right now. Like I have, I have no shame because it's been very useful in the past. People who may know me know that I was exposed to mental health practitioners as a child, and I was lucky to have someone I knew who was a therapist. So, I mean, people would come to me, talk about their issues. I also learned my own mistakes growing up, not what to say, how not to be judgmental. Because you're so passionate, like, just tell them this, just, you like, you know, people actually want to be in a safe space more than your advice, you know? And
Yes.
I realized at some point I can't. I don't even know what to do. I had a friend who was going through an abusive relationship and I had no clue, like no clue. And I remember reaching out to one of the practitioners. I was quite young then, reaching out to practitioners and she stepped in. I didn't ask again about what happened. It was even my friend who would give me updates. But it's amazing. Like if you're meant, it's not, I love what you said in Jolly. It's not a one-man show. It's not an individual effort. So please, if you want to be a mental health advocate, and that's why we are having this session today about raising your voice in support of mental health, please build your network. You can't do it alone. You can't do it alone. I just had to rehash that. Hooey, this is getting exciting. Let me being cautious of time. Let me go to our next question. And hey, Jolly, you are probably one of the people who let me ask 2 impromptu questions. So I think you deserve an award at this rate. You've talked about the impact for those considering going to mental health advocacy. And I told you outside this call that even me, I struggled. I claim to be a mental health advocate, but even starting this podcast was hard for me for so many reasons. And now people are watching the two of us, and somebody's like, I want to do this too. I remember seeing you online and like, I want to do this too. And I already had this idea and I started working on it. And as I said, I remember one day you put, I'm like, this thing is going out. It's going, this thing, these recordings won't go to waste. Like, you know, but someone is watching the two of us and saying, I want to also join this journey of mental health advocacy. Please, Njole, you've been through your own journey. I've been through mine, but I will not steal your thunder today on this one. Advise us. What should we be considering? And for those who are in it too as well, what sort of advice would you give them? They may be struggling. They may also be doing well. Like, you know, sometimes you're on the journey, like, yeah, I got this.
Yes.
Then I'm busy. They're like, no, I don't know. I don't got this. But anyway, what advice would you give either potential mental health advocates and some of the mental health advocates now who are on this journey? They could even be more experienced than you or not. But obviously, there's something you will share. We are ready to listen, Jolly.
All right, thank you so much. So, an advice that I would give to someone who is considering becoming a mental health advocate today is that every small effort counts and your voice is powerful. I would also advise that you can start by educating yourself. Um, because that's very crucial and that's very, very important. Because if you don't educate yourself, you will face certain challenges along the path. Everyone faces challenges whenever you're embarking on something that will have a greater glory. You will definitely face struggles, but those struggles might overwhelm you if you do not prepare yourself. So you have to educate yourself, and also having at the back of your mind that every effort counts. Educating yourself is also an effort, and that counts. Your voice is powerful. Lending it out for others, it's also counts, and it's indeed very powerful. But just to note this down, you mustn't be a mental health professional or some sort of professional before you are a mental health advocate. You can start from whatsoever level, even from your family, from your circle of friends, from your workplace, your colleagues. You can start advocating for mental health. So you mustn't have a certificate before you start. That might be important along the line, but that should not hinder your voice from going out now. So that's why I said every step counts, no matter how small it is, it counts. I'm sure we all have siblings. They might come to you even on a normal day, trying to explain some situations that may be happening in school. Most times we often brush them away, not knowing that that is an opportunity for mental health advocacy. That is a foundation for your mental health advocacy to be built on. We have friends coming to us with certain issues, maybe in their relationships, in their personal life, in their families. Most times we laugh about it, but what if we really take a moment to just throw in some advice, take a moment to listen to them, take a moment to support them? That will really go a long way. Because I've had situations whereby, or I've heard of experiences whereby someone that is either staying in the same house with somebody, a family member, and the person commits suicide, and they're like, we never saw the sign. It's not possible. There must have been a sign. It might not have been visible, but there's always a sign. And then most times, because these people are close to us, we always believe that because they are laughing, they are joking, it means they are strong. Most times, that is their weakest moment. And because we often ignore this, we do not take up this opportunity to become mental health advocates. So always remember, your voice is powerful, regardless of what level you are in. Your voice is powerful, and you can always advocate for mental health. Then my advice to those that are already in the field, one thing I will encourage us is that most times, most of us have the knowledge that mental health is not an individual journey, but we do not actually practice it. We only say it. We do not support one another, and that is not, that will not take that will not make us go too far, because if you want to go far, it's advisable you move with other people, and then you get to reach there with more impact. But most times we fail to support those that are upcoming. We sometimes maybe look for those that are already in high positions, and we identify with them. What about those that are upcoming? They also have a voice, they have a message, they have an impact they are trying to make. Why don't we contribute to this? No matter how small it is, we can lend our voices and work together. So that's one advice I have for those that are already in the field. And then I'm sure that with this, we'll be having more mental health advocates on ground. We'll be having more mental health advocates on ground. And then lastly, mental health advocacy takes patience for both
tell
those
me
that are
about it.
starting, for those for those that are starting and those that are already in the field. It takes a lot of patience. Most times, you might have an idea. Like I remember when you first spoke about having this vision of having a podcast. I know that it took a while before it actually came to life, but you kept brooding on it, you kept thinking on it, you kept building on it gradually. Most people in your shoe might have given up. We have people that wanted to start mental health advocacy, maybe a platform, or support people in one way or the other, but they gave up because of lack of patience. But if you're patient enough, you'll be able to make that impact that you have intended or you have visioned in your heart that you are going to make. You're actually going to make it. So this is my advice. There are a lot of advices, but I think with this we'll be able to run with it.
I think there's even more to come, but don't worry, we'll have Njole back. She'll add it as we go along. Thank you so much, Njole. We just have about, let's check the time. We just have about maybe some 3 minutes to wrap up. And wow, I don't want to take up all that. There is 3 minutes. I can even just be saying wow for all 3 minutes, but I won't do that. Njole, thank you. This has been Calm Hearts, Calm Minds. We are on a mission to make mental health victories, like mental health advocacy, more relevant, more relatable, and more accessible. This advice that Njole gave us makes it more accessible to those who are already on the journey, like the two of us, or want to start. Njole, you said so much today. So much. For some people listening to all be new. For others, they'll be like me doing agama listen. I understand. Yeah. But and for me, before I let you say your favorite thing, if there's one thing I'll really take away is that every effort counts. Like that one post, that 30 minutes that you spend just listening to someone complain about, I don't know, their boyfriend or something. Every effort counts. So even standing up and say, hey, I'm a mental health advocate, I want to do this. If there were, okay, right now I've now reduced it to two, can you see? If there's one thing you want someone to remember, what would it be? If they forget everything that we said today and there's one thing, what would that be? What would that one thing be?
To be, you don't need to be a professional to be a mental health advocate. Every step counts. That would be it.
Please, if you see the post and I said quoted by Njole, you don't have to be, hey, Njole, maybe even I'll even put it before this episode is out. But thank you so much. Thank you for agreeing to do this. I know we'll talk again. Hopefully, we'll also find time in your busy schedule to talk more, because sometimes I look at your post on LinkedIn, I'm like, hey, this is the whole topic. And I look at like another topic.
Yes.
So I'll be happy to unpack them further because I've realized how education changed my life on mental health.
Yes.
And how it changed the way I treat others. I mean, people who know me from my past and see me now may even notice the difference. And how this advocacy journey is even making me learn more every day. So thank you so much, Njole. This has been absolutely beautiful. And I'm so happy we made it happen. Thank you for the time. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
This
Thank you
has
so
been
much.
Calm Hearts,
Hearts,
Calm
calm
Mind.
mind.
It's a program where we aim to make mental health victories more relevant, relatable, and accessible in our society. Hey! But one day I'll trademark it. Accessible in our society. Please remember to share this with others. Please remember to like. Please remember to comment if you have something to say. Please remember to reach out. I mean, Njole and I have opened up our doors on our different platforms that you can get us. And please remember to subscribe so that you can see more efforts, more of the episodes that are coming up. And you can share with others. You never know. You think you are just sharing information, but you never know the impact it will make on someone's life. So please share, please subscribe, and let's continue this together. Thank you so much, Julie. We will have back to
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Calm Hearts, Calm Minds, and Innocent Podcast. We hope you enjoyed it and we hope you learned something new. We look forward to you joining the next episode. We can't wait to see you soon. Bye.